Los Angeles Dodgers fans, what a wild ride it has been this week. If you thought September baseball couldn't get any more dramatic, the Dodgers decided to crank the intensity all the way up against the Arizona Diamondbacks. 11 innings of pure tension, clutch performances when everything was on the line, and the kind of late-night drama that makes you remember why you love this sport. In the end, the Dodgers pulled it off with a 5-4 victory that had every fan on the edge of their seat. What makes this game even more memorable is that it wasn't just about the final score. It was about the storylines that unfolded inside those 11 innings, the twists that are starting to shape what could be another unforgettable postseason run for Los Angeles. For starters, we got to see Roki Sasaki back on a big league mound for the first time since May. Not only that, but the rookie phenom took on a brand new role, coming out of the bullpen for the very first time in his young career. This wasn't just a simple return, it was a statement. He showed composure, unleashed that electric stuff we've all been hearing about, and most importantly, recorded 2 huge strikeouts in a clutch inning that gave the Dodgers exactly what they needed. And speaking of surprises, how about Clayton Kershaw making his 4th ever regular season appearance out of the bullpen? Just imagine that, a future Hall of Famer, a 3-time Cy Young winner, the face of the franchise for over a decade, suddenly trotting out of the bullpen in a must-win game. There's something special about seeing a pitcher who has done it all still finding ways to contribute in new roles when the team needs him most. It almost felt like a flashback to those postseason moments where Kershaw has had to adapt, and once again, he reminded everyone why he remains such a central figure in this Dodgers story. That victory pushed Los Angeles to 89 wins on the year, and now the magic number to clinch the National League West has dropped all the way to 1. Just one more win, or even a slip-up by the San Diego Padres, and the Dodgers will officially lock down the division yet again. This has become a familiar sight over the last decade, but it never loses its shine. Each division crown tells its own story, and this season's journey has been full of challenges, injuries, and adjustments that make this potential clinch all the more rewarding. But of course, as much as there was to celebrate after this nail-biting win, the Dodgers also had to deal with some concerning news. An all-star reliever was placed on the injured list before the game, forcing the team to shuffle the bullpen once again. That move opened the door for Sasaki's return, and while he delivered in spectacular fashion, the fact remains that the Dodgers are still juggling health issues and a pitching staff that has already been stretched thin this season. And that wasn't the only unsettling update. Fans are now holding their breath after learning that Will Smith, the team's all-star catcher, is still dealing with a hairline fracture in his hand. With the postseason less than a week away, this is the kind of news that makes you pause. Smith isn't just any catcher. He's the backbone of the pitching staff, one of the most consistent hitters in the lineup, and a leader in the clubhouse. His status could very well determine how far this Dodgers team can go in October. If that wasn't enough to keep fans buzzing, a fascinating piece of baseball history surfaced this week. It turns out that at one point, the New York Yankees actually tried to acquire Clayton Kershaw. Yes, you heard that right. The Yankees, with all their tradition and deep pockets, once attempted to lure the Dodgers ace away from Los Angeles. It's hard to even picture Kershaw in another uniform, let alone the iconic pinstripes of the Bronx Bombers. This is a pitcher who has come to embody Dodger Blue, a player whose legacy is intertwined with Los Angeles in a way that feels permanent. To imagine him taking the mound in Yankee Stadium as a member of the home team is almost unthinkable. That revelation just adds another layer to the legend of Kershaw's career, showing how close the baseball world once came to a completely different reality. Meanwhile, the bullpen saga continues, and it brings us to Brock Stewart, the reliever the Dodgers were counting on downstretch. Stewart was supposed to be the big reinforcement after spending weeks on the injured list, but instead, his return has hit another bump. He was expected to be ready for the series against Arizona, but shoulder issues kept him sidelined once again. Manager Dave Roberts admitted that Stewart is still dealing with soreness and that his status is day-to-day. The 33-year-old even went through a bullpen session in front of trainers and the front office staff, showing flashes that he's pitchable, as Roberts put it. But the reality is that this injury has lingered far longer than the Dodgers ever wanted, and his availability for the rest of the season is now a serious question mark. For fans, it's frustrating because Stewart was considered the biggest bullpen addition at the trade deadline, without the team actually making a splashy move. The Dodgers chose to rely on the return of injured pitchers rather than giving up prospects in trade, betting that reinforcements would arrive from within. Stewart was at the center of that plan, but now it feels like the team is once again searching for answers as the regular season winds down. The irony is that while Stewart struggles with his shoulder, Sasaki is stepping into this bullpen role as a potential replacement. After missing more than 4 months himself due to a shoulder impingement, the rookie is now being asked to fill a void and contribute in a new way. He may no longer have a spot in the rotation, but his willingness to embrace the bullpen role shows maturity and a team-first mentality that could make a huge difference in October. This balancing act between celebrating the highs and worrying about the injuries has defined the Dodgers season. One moment you're watching Michael Conforto launch a solo home run to spark the offense. The next you're wondering if the bullpen will hold together long enough to secure another division title. That tension isn't going away anytime soon, especially with the postseason right around the corner. When you look at this Dodgers team right now, it almost feels like two different stories unfolding at the same time. On one side, you see the grit, the late-inning heroics, and the clutch performances that make fans believe this roster can go all the way again. On the other, you see the mounting injuries and constant adjustments that could just as easily derail the postseason dream if things do not line up perfectly. That duality was on full display in Arizona, and it is going to remain the central theme heading into October. Take Roki Sasaki, for example. This is a pitcher who arrived in Major League Baseball with massive expectations, a phenom whose every appearance is dissected and analyzed. For him to miss months with a shoulder injury was already a huge setback, but now, the way he has come back and embraced a bullpen role tells you a lot about his character. Not every rookie would be willing to give up a shot at the rotation just to help the team, but Sasaki seems to get it. He knows the Dodgers have bigger goals, and he is showing he can adapt to whatever role is asked of him. His inning against Arizona wasn't just a step forward for his own career, it was a signal to the rest of the league that this Dodgers bullpen might have just found an unexpected weapon. Now, compare that energy with the uncertainty around Will Smith. Fans do not even want to imagine what this postseason looks like without him behind the plate. He has been a steady hand guiding the pitching staff, not to mention one of the most reliable bats in the lineup. A hairline fracture in the hand may sound like a minor thing at first, but for a catcher, it is brutal. Every throw back to the mound, every swing at the plate, every foul tip that bounces off the mitt, it all takes a toll. The team has been careful with updates, but the tone has been far from reassuring. You can hear the concern in the way they talk about his recovery, and the calendar is not doing them any favors. With less than a week until the postseason, there is very little room left for setbacks. This is where depth becomes everything. Over the years, the Dodgers have built a reputation for having one of the deepest rosters in baseball, and that philosophy is once again being tested. Players like Michael Conforto stepping up with key home runs might not make the headlines the way a MOOKIE BETTS or Freddie Freeman moment would, but those contributions are just as important. Every team that makes a deep run in October has role players who rise to the occasion. And Conforto's swing in Arizona was one of those reminders that you cannot overlook anyone in this lineup. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room, the bullpen. Los Angeles made a conscious decision at the trade deadline not to deal away their top prospects. They could have gone after big-name relievers. They could have chased splashy trades, but instead they gambled on health. They believed that once their injured arms came back, it would feel like they had made additions without giving anything up. On paper, that is a sound strategy, especially for a team with as much talent in its farm system as the Dodgers. In reality, though, it has been a lot messy, eh? Brock Stewart was supposed to be the poster child for that strategy, the guy who returned just in time to stabilize the bullpen. Instead, his shoulder issues have lingered, and the optimism around his return is fading fast. Even after multiple cortisone shots and rehab sessions, the soreness is still there, and the team is left wondering if he can realistically be counted on in October. Dave Roberts has tried to keep things light with his day-to-day updates, but the truth is clear. The Dodgers are running out of time. If Stewart cannot go, that means even more pressure falls on the rest of the bullpen, and that is not exactly the kind of situation you want to walk into the postseason with. The idea of handing the ball to Sasaki in a big spot is exciting, but let's be honest, it is also risky. He has never pitched in an MLB playoff game, and now he could find himself thrown into the fire against some of the best lineups in the league. It is the kind of storyline that could turn into a legend or a nightmare, and right now nobody knows which way it will go. At the same time, it is impossible to ignore the way Clayton Kershaw keeps finding ways to reinvent himself. Seeing him come out of the bullpen against Arizona sparked a wave of nostalgia for fans who remember the different roles he has played in past Octobers. For so long, the narrative around Kershaw in the playoffs has been complicated, dominant at times, heartbreaking at others. But now, at this stage of his career, there is something beautiful about the way he embraces whatever role the team needs. The idea that the Yankees once tried to trade for him adds another layer of appreciation. Imagine if history had played out differently. Imagine if he had left Los Angeles. Would we even be talking about him the same way? Would he still have the same aura, the same legacy? Probably not. Kershaw belongs in Dodger blue, and the fact that he has stayed loyal all these years makes every one of these late career appearances feel special. For the Dodgers, these next few days will be about more than just clinching the division. That is going to happen, whether it is with one more win or with a Padres loss. It is inevitable. The real focus is on getting the roster ready for October, figuring out who is healthy enough to contribute and who might have to sit this one out. The postseason is a brutal test, and every team walks into it with some kind of flaw. For the Dodgers, that flaw is the bullpen and the uncertainty behind the plate. But at the same time, their strengths are undeniable. They have veterans who have been through every possible scenario, young stars ready to prove themselves, and a culture that demands excellence. That is why this team continues to be so fascinating. You can see all the reasons they could collapse, yet you can also see all the reasons they could win it all. They are walking that fine line where one swing, one pitch, or one decision could change the entire trajectory of the season. And as history has shown us, those moments of uncertainty are often where the Dodgers shine brightest. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. In what could be the most shocking move of the MLB offseason, whispers around Los Angeles are hinting that Mookie Betts, the beloved star of the Dodgers, might be on the verge of leaving the team. Sources close to the organization suggest that talks are heating up, and while nothing is official yet, the mere possibility of Betts' departure has sent fans and analysts into a frenzy. Betts, who has been synonymous with Dodgers' excellence since his arrival, has dazzled on the field with his combination of speed, power, and defensive brilliance. He's not just a player. He's a symbol of the team's identity and a fan favorite. Rumors indicate that negotiations could involve multiple teams, with some reports pointing to a blockbuster trade that could reshape the landscape of Major League Baseball. Inside sources hint that the Dodgers front office is weighing options carefully, balancing the potential gain of prospects or key players against the undeniable void left by losing a superstar of Betts' caliber. The city of Los Angeles is already buzzing with speculation, and social media has exploded with theories ranging from shock trades to unexpected free agent signings in response. While Betts has never publicly expressed dissatisfaction with the Dodgers, the rumor mill suggests that several teams are aggressively pursuing him, seeing a chance to add one of the game's brightest talents. Some insiders believe that a deal could materialize sooner than fans expect, potentially before the start of the next season, leaving the Dodgers scrambling to adjust both on the field and in the hearts of their supporters. One thing is certain, if Mookie Betts were to depart, it would not just be a trade. It would mark the end of an era in Los Angeles, sending shockwaves through the league and forever changing the narrative of the Dodgers dynasty. For now, fans are left on edge, waiting for confirmation while the rumor continues to swirl. Could the icon of the Dodgers really be gone? That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.